And Melinda, sorry you couldn't make it. We were really hoping to try to get you a job and get your face out in the world, but
Boy,
she
missed
had a
out.
job interview. How about that?
Yeah.
So
Right.
she
Well,
kind of thought that was a little bit more important. Which how could you
Yeah, that
forgive her
is
for that?
true.
But I don't particularly remember exactly everything about her background. But say she was like a marketer in the restaurant industry. You find a group or a couple of groups that specifically talk about that kind of stuff, and I mean, as we call it, part of the thought leadership stuff and making yourself an expert in your field and
That's right.
and getting people to notice you. That's
Well,
one
while they're going
awesome
through
way
those,
to do it.
while they're going through those resume and then getting them done and key searching, we know somebody. Boy, I mean, that's so easy. If they can know somebody, you're going to give you very fast consideration, because the other thing is a lot of work. So
and if you're careful to put out the proper good content on a weekly basis in those groups that you're participating in, and you do, as Travis said, position yourself as a trusted professional, a trusted expert in that field. You can also every once in a while send out a gentle nudge that, hey, by the way, I might be looking for a new opportunity, and this is exactly what I do. Keep this in mind. So if you're more of an active job seeker, that's a great way to keep your profile and your expertise at the top of mind to recruiters and companies and agencies.
Well, and it sure has changed, because back when I did it, of course, I did legal recruiting, and about the time that you did, I had Legal Eagles, and I did placement attorney. We had a list, and we had phone people. We followed them, and I had to talk to everybody and take that resume and read it and everything else, and that just seems like a good way to be able to, the technology, I just can imagine. That's why I was excited about having you on, how much it's changed. And I'll tell you what, that also makes your service, when a company is looking for somebody, you save them the time of having to get all that in place by calling you.
That's right.
And so you can give them the people that are looking and out there from your, right at the top of the list, down to the criteria that they're wanting. Am I correct?
Right, and smart recruiters like me build these gigantic networks and communities of candidates in specific skill sets.
Yeah.
And so we reach out and just say, hey, we're looking for this, and
That's on one of your tweets. Yeah, you were looking for somebody for marketing or in the internet.
And the fact that you even saw it, is what I'm talking about right here, because the more people that see it, this is a good reason not to stop ever building your network. That's one of the myths of LinkedIn. Well, I've got 300 people that I'm networked with. I don't need any more than that.
I think recruiters, recruiters get a bad rap because they don't, they do get reproached a lot. And so what's the key? And we do know recruiters, they hold the keys a lot of times, and you're as good as the recruiter you get.
That's right.
So if someone wants to get your attention, you would have them do the same thing that you told them earlier.
That's right. Get on my radar. Go see the groups that I participate in, and where I, what times a day that I might be on Twitter. And
by the way, you have
like
great
that.
links from your website. He's got a whole thing on the Hook to the Boomer thing that I was just like enthralled with. I said, I think I have somebody to bring on and talk about job searching, because when you're older. But yeah, you had a good site. It's very social media friendly, and
that's fishdogs.com. Is that the one? Yeah.
Oh, it was A-List.
Okay, A-List Solutions is really good too.
But from there is
both good.
all your. You follow it, go here and get your ebook, and you're there, so it's all there.
That's right. Yep. A-listsolutions.com or fishdogs.com are the two places you can see blog articles. Fish
Fly
Dogs.
Dog and Fish Dog.
That's right.
Who knew? Who knew? We're both dogs. So let me ask you this. I think one of the questions that came up actually during the week when we've been promoting the show and different things is the premium package. For someone just getting started, do they need to pay in extra to
I've
have
always
that?
wondered that. Is it really worth my...
On LinkedIn?
Yeah, on LinkedIn.
You really don't need to. Because of the fact that you can participate in the same groups with people that you want to network with, you don't ever have to have any extra in-mails or invitations or anything like that to invite people to network with you, because if you're a part of the same group, that's one of the options that you get as a drop-down menu when you ask someone to join your network. If you're in the same group, you just select that. It's like being from the same school.
So what is the value then of the premium package if you're going to pay extra for it?
Certain businesses and talent acquisition organizations and recruiters might need some of that extra stuff, but the average Joe who's either looking for a job or just marketing doesn't really need it. I mean, my whole value proposition is based on the fact that I can do all this for free.
Okay, and someone
I can show you how
asked
to.
a question in here initially that LinkedIn didn't allow you to connect with just anyone.
Right.
You had to go through a trusted connection to get a certain person you wanted to talk to. How do you think the change where anyone could connect with you? And I didn't know it had changed. Basically, by lying about, I guess, I don't know what they got cut off, but I guess, saying that they know you, just by saying that they know you from doing business with you.
Well, the other person still has to accept you.
Yeah,
so
they don't have to network with you.
I think they can also accuse you of spamming, and they will, the little thing, next time you send out,
Right.
because this has happened to me,
Yep.
if I send out a bunch of them, and I have too many pending that didn't accept me, then they
Yeah,
say,
you get-
LinkedIn will slap
do
your
you
wrist
have
for
their
that.
email?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'll start asking you for that. And then I went in there and I found some old ones.
Well, and it's all in how you approach it. If you explain to whoever you're trying to connect with very carefully about what you're doing and what your motivation is, and you don't seem sneaky and you're not underhanded, people will generally respect that. I mean, I've got a 100% 5-star rating for the last 7 years.
How many contacts do you have on there? You got the 500 plus number, don't you?
Yeah, I've got over 2,000
Did you ever
something.
So, that Kathy, that same thing you were talking about happened to me when I first started LinkedIn, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing with it back a year and a half, 2 years ago or whatever. Because I was just like, and I thought it was kind of like Facebook, follow, whatever. But it's not, and you get that slap on the wrist, but then you got to email them and tell them, I wasn't doing it, I didn't mean it. But now, one of the tricks is if you find someone you want to connect to, there's a couple avenues you can take. Number one, hopefully you've met them recently at like a networking event, or you've got their card. So if you're going to connect with them and you're not in a group with them, or you don't know their email, or what, because a lot of times people don't use their business email for LinkedIn, they use a personal one, so it makes it a little difficult. But one of the things to do is in the box they let you type, say, hey, I met you last night, or so and so told me to contact you, or whatever it is. If you actually talk to somebody and give them a reason to accept you, then it's a lot different than getting, because when I get requests all the time and there's nothing, they don't type me a personal message, I usually just hit reject.
Yeah, don't just use the generic, I'd like to add you to my network on LinkedIn.
I don't, and a lot of times what I found is they were old things that had been there for a long time, and they were people that came from my contact list that didn't necessarily, I just kind of did when they said, look at your contact list.
Well, and that's what happens when you sort of bulk request, that LinkedIn actually gives you the option to ask everyone in your email contact list to join, but it doesn't give you the option right then and there to write a tailored note to that person. So it's sort of a bad idea to go through your entire contact list and just bulk add them.
But Clint has a question.
Yeah, I had a quick little question. This is specifically much more for the Marcom industry, because normally they're the first ones to get fired and the last ones to get hired.
That's
because
right.
If somebody cuts a budget, marketing is the first thing to go.
Yep.
So I've got somebody that I know that's been doing that for a long, long time. She's incredible at her job. So she's out in the market trying to find something new right now because, well, she's Marcom, so it's the first one to get slashed. So is there anything specifically for somebody that's in Marcom to help get them boosted up into a company?
Yeah, there are lots of local groups that you can participate in on LinkedIn, and I highly recommend doing
Social
this.
Media Club?
Yep. Any marketing related group, even that's not in your own city, has value if they're high profile and have lots of members. What you get is when you participate in these groups and post good content and sort of position yourself as an expert, and you're consistent about it, is people recognizing you, knowing who you are, and when you put the word out that, hey, I'm still looking for something like this on a regular basis, people will refer jobs to you and recommend you into companies. 60% of most corporate hires are by referral and not by people who apply through online applications. So you want to utilize tools like LinkedIn to get referred. And to the question that we had about people who are able to just connect without having to know that person, as LinkedIn's initial premise was, and it still says that sort of in their guidelines, that's not really networking. How are you ever going to meet anyone? Just curious if you don't connect with people that you don't already know.
And I have so many groups on there.
And one of the other key things that I wanted to elaborate on too with that is, if Craig and I are connected, and I can see who all his connections are, and say that I need, I want to network with somebody within his network. That's how LinkedIn works too, because you ask for a referral. and then he can make an introduction and say, hey, I know this guy and he wants to connect with you, and I think you two would be a good fit for each other, and that's another avenue for LinkedIn.
That's
right?
the true power of LinkedIn as well. It's not your first level connections that make your network strong and big. It's your connections. So those second level connections is what each time grows your own network exponentially. Because
and hopefully, and I've been pretty successful. You don't want to ham in on somebody, but I'm getting like good references for people to come on the show because I'm trying to get experts like you. So you can do that search in there. I've not really used that a whole lot because you're limited. Now that's where, is it still that the basic doesn't only let you do so many searches?
No, you can do as many searches as you want.
You only get so many returns.
You only get so many returns.
So-
You're limited to people that are within certain levels of connection to you.
Okay.
Okay, so if they're beyond like a third or fourth level connection, you might not get those results. But this is one of the good reasons to keep building your network. You don't really want to just say, "Oh, I've got
Because
500
that
people in my
person
network.
might
I'm
be
going
in
to
the third level that
That's
you're
exactly
looking
right.
for.
And they keep improving it every week. I mean, their search
What's open network?
their search engine, right? Their
That's
search
people who
engine
are
right now
open
is-
to connect with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is that a good idea if you're? I
Well,
mean,
here's my question on this: why not? What are
Yeah.
you afraid of?
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you connect with everyone?
I do. If you said, leave a note, no, they just have to. I go to their little connection and
Well,
check to see who they are.
The only thing that bugs me is sometimes when you connect with people that trying to they may sound appropriate at first, but then they start spamming. To me, they're spamming my inbox with.
If that
all this
happens, you
stuff.
can always
Exactly.
block them or delete
Yeah,
them.
and I know,
every
and
day. It's
and
easiest
those
thing
are
in the
usually
world.
the guys that are in different countries. So
I do that
kinda
with my
learned
Twitter
that-
connections. I mean, I do friend almost everybody that or follow them back. But if I start getting lots of just junk, then even though I'm trying to build my numbers, I go, this isn't worth the pain.
Are you talking about when you get the direct message response on Twitter that says,
How do you
"Thanks for
set
following
that
me"?
up? I can't figure
Well,
out how to
don't do
give an
that.
automatic response.
Okay, so I can
Don't
tell
do
you how
that?
to do it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. In
That's
fact,
it's aggravating now to the point where I can't stand
Well,
it.
then,
when I get
don't
'em.
tell me how to do it.
there's an article at fishdogs.com that tells you how to stop that auto response from people when you follow them, that auto direct reply.
And it's at Fish Dogs, and that's dog, D-O-G.
DOGS, fishdogs.com.
And that's another thing. I know that what happens is when we reach 2 hours on Justin, it changes and we get a split. So and we might go into a second segment talking to you, but I want to know that they will be able to get a hold of you. So I want you right now to tell them if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, and we'll continue talking.
Yep.
But how do they need to do it?
They can reach me at craig@alistsolutions.com, or just go to fishdogs.com and all my contact information is there.
Okay. And so, but I mean, the Twitter, that's interesting because I was like, I kind of liked it. I thought it was neat that they did that, but then maybe that could be aggravating. He says he is the guy, and he's basically blossomed the viewership and the numbers so much. I just kind of listen to it. I go, oh yes, Mohami, I don't.
It's when you're first getting started. You know how we go out and we try to follow as many people and as we can to try to build our followership. When you do some of these programs and you're following a couple hundred people, and if they all have it, your DM just goes nuts, and it's just full of thank you for following me. I hate it.
Well, and
It's just a personal thing.
there's really, it's only as annoying as you let it be. Now, I do use direct messages for communication all the time, not to say thanks for following me, but to ping people back and forth. I mean, you and I
Yeah.
use it as text
But they're
messaging.
not
Yeah.
following me. It says they're not, I can't send it.
That's right.
Well,
Well, there are
personal
ways to get them to
messages are
follow you, though.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing is, how do you get people to follow you that aren't following you, that they seem like they're following everybody else?
You participate with them.
Yeah.
You reply to them and respond and forward
How do you
their...
reply to them
Well,
if they
my-
can't see
my-
you?
You
my
can
new-
reply on the
With a
live tweet.
hashtag?
Yeah,
Here's my new technique that I've been trying out is for all the people that I've followed that haven't followed me back.
Yeah.
Because even though I hate Follow Fridays, I'm throwing them out there, trying to ping them so that they see that, oh, someone gave me a shout out, and then they're going to follow me back because maybe they missed it the first time
Is
I
the
followed
shout
them.
out the hashtag or the @ sign? Either.
Either. They'll see you if you reply to
Because
them.
I've got
Yeah.
my Hoot,
Yeah.
I started using the Hootsuite because
But
it's in
the best way to do it is to just start retweeting some of the good stuff that they post. If they post good stuff, retweet
yeah,
it to
that's
your
what I
network.
have been looking for,
Yeah.
and people that I know, and making sure that I retweet it.